if nothing else, if I couldn't get a mentor and I couldn't get better sounds, I would follow the rule of 100. This is what I would do. I would get just get 100 XYZ done. Get 100 mixes done. Write 100 songs. Produce 100 songs. Like, just mess around with 100 different tracks. Just do 100 of something. And then when I started working with artists, like this is, and this is a lesson I didn't learn until I started trying to work with artists, where I would, I heard somebody say, just do the rule of 100. And I can't remember who it was, but nevertheless, they said, like, just if you just send 100 DMs a day, somebody eventually will respond to you. And I was like, cool. So, like, on Instagram, I was sending 100 DMs a day until finally somebody would say, yeah, I'll work with you. And dude, it was the most generic copy and paste thing I had ever done. It was the worst. Like, I feel bad for anybody that got, if you're listening to this and you got one of those messages, I am sorry. but it worked though. Like after a few hundred, it started to work. People started to reach out and they're like, hey, like, yeah, I'm interested. Like, let me listen to your portfolio, dude. That's how I just didn't even know, like, the unknown unknowns again. I wasn't even sending a link to my portfolio. I was like, hey, I'm a producer. I would love to produce your music. Will you work with me? Like, that was the most generic kind of message. But and it's the same thing. Like, just produce 100 songs, mix 100 songs, get that out of the way. Because, like, and one thing, I was working with one of my students on this, and he's like, hey, I've been mixing this song for the last 3 years, and I just can't seem to get it right. And literally 3 years. And I told him, I said, dude, you need to let it go and move on. There's a time and a place to dive in head first and to spend a lot of time working on something. Like, but you don't know what to do until you've gotten 100 songs done, right?
Yeah.
He had like maybe 4 different songs recorded and released. I'm like, you are not at a place yet where you can spend 3 years. He's like, well, but my favorite songs, my favorite albums, they take 2-3 years to drop. And I'm like, you don't see the mountain of songs that never got released. You don't see that.
Yeah.
You don't see the pile of the half-written songs, the finished songs, the demos, the 72 mixes, all this other stuff that never made it to the album. You only see the album in the 2 years it took to get there. There's all of this stuff that they had to climb across to get there. So just get 100 done. Get 100 mixes done. Write 100 songs. Produce 100 different songs. Reach out to 100 different people if you want to start working with them. Do 100 of whatever it is that you want to do and whatever it is you want to get good at. And I promise you, if you do 100, you will have absolute clarity and focus on what actually matters, but only after you've done the 100. I did the same thing with my YouTube channel. I just did not look at the analytics. I didn't care. I was like, I don't care if anybody sees this. I don't want to care about the views. I don't want to care about anything. Like, I just need to get 100 videos out there. And if somebody resonates with some of my tutorials online and they're like, thank you so much for making this, then I won. That's all that mattered. I just need to get 100 videos out, and that was one of the best things I ever did. So yeah, I would tell my past self, and this is a long-winded, I would tell my past self, get 100 done.
Oh, that's such a good one. That is amazing. It's like the people who the artists who worked on those albums. It's like they've written their first 100 songs before this, and the first 100 were not that good. Like, that's why things are good, because they put in that first 100. Things are not good because they spent all that time that they would have put on the first 100 things in the first task of those 100.
Yep.
Like, if there's all this, if you have this much time, how do I go to the camera? This much time, and you could spend that all doing this 100 different things over and over and over, or just spend it on the same one thing and the same one song, the same one thing, and just obsessing over like the same mix over and over and over again. Like, you just can't make progress that way, because you don't encounter, like, every song will teach you something new. So if you're just stuck in the same little world of the same little song forever, you're not going to get those new experiences, because you're just trying to EQ the same guitar track 100 times. Whereas if you EQ'd 100 different guitars, you'd have faced all sorts of different dilemmas and have problem-solving opportunities and got those reps in.
Yeah,
it's just like, it's just such a no-brainer. That's such a good one, man. That is like, that a lot of people own can be a whole clip.
Yeah, I agree. This is a great episode. I feel like people underestimate the volume it takes. Like I've been doing this for 10 years. Like over 10 years I've been doing this. And that's like just producing music and mixing. Like people underestimate the volume it takes to get there. And I don't think it takes 10 years. I say this all the time. I don't think it takes 10 years. I just think it takes the 10 years of focused effort that I put in probably was 3. Like I had 3 years of real focused effort and attention dedicated to this. Like a lot of it was like I didn't know what I was doing and I was chasing my tail and running around in circles. I had no idea what I was doing. So I really think like the 10 years could be down in even a year. If you're like somebody who's super focused and super driven, you could do what I'm doing in like a year if you just know what to do.